Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Stanisci of NLL Lacrosse Talk. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also now smart TVs 2016 forward. And also, I invite you to watch all the programs that we do at Candid Stanisci 1030 on YouTube. Please subscribe and please take part in watching what we do and let us know how you feel about stuff. Put some comments on there. We'll check out what you're doing. All right. Very importantly, now we have a guest. This guy was real busy. He took time out of his busy schedule promoting the National Lacrosse League and, of course, the Buffalo Bandits. He plays for them as well. His name is Brad McCulley. And as usual, Gary's here to help grill the guests. First of all, Brad, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
And you should be, because our excitement should rub off on you. We're very happy to have you on. Buffalo Bandits, one of the greatest franchises in National Lacrosse League history, a team that is so easy to access for the local people in this community. Toronto to Buffalo is not a long drive. And everybody has a lot of fun watching lacrosse. Now, I know you have fun playing, but what I want to know is what started you playing? How'd you pick up a stick?
When I was a little bit younger, well, not a little bit younger, quite a bit younger. When I was 6 years old, a buddy of mine and his dad and me, we were walking around the local mall, and I guess just there was some lacrosse sticks and a lacrosse sign up. So we signed up, and he was just like, "Yeah, this is what we're doing for the summer." So he kind of came home, and I think he got a stick at the sign up. So me and my buddy came home with 2 sticks and a ball, and obviously started playing pass and kind of looking it up and looking into it. And he just, he came home and told my parents, "Hey, I signed him up for lacrosse. This is something they can do through the summer." It's probably like a practice and a game a week, whatever it was, mini tyke. So it probably wasn't too much of a commitment. But I remember they took us to a Shamrocks game, and that was still when they were playing down at the Memorial Arena, so the older one, not the Q Center where we're at now, but the old arena they're at there. And I remember that game. I think it was a Man Cup game. I can't remember exactly. It might have been, but I remember there was a bench clearing brawl in the first game I ever went to. And I was like, okay, like I guess at 6 years old, I think they took us out of the arena when it was all going on. But we started going to Shamrocks games kind of after that. I guess, my dad was a fan, so we were able to kind of go to games after that. But yeah, that's kind of how it got started. Just, one summer and been every summer since.
What was it that attracted you, that you liked about the most? I know you started by passing the ball and understanding how to pitch and catch, but what attracted you? What did you find most attractive to play the game?
I mean, I was a fan, shooting and just having the stick, and then just the pace of the game, the intensity, the roughness, how you can kind of do everything: defense, offense, be athletic, do whatever you need to do. It's a beautiful game. I mean, I think as we can all agree, and I think that's what caught my eye when I was younger, just watching guys do crazy stuff, right? Like just come around and pick a corner from pretty far out or behind the back. Like Lewis Ratcliffe was always one of the guys that I watched when I was way younger. So I think that's where the offensive player kind of grew in me a bit. But yeah, I think just everything of it, just the intensity, the violence, the speed, the grace, everything. I love it.
The reason why a lot of times fans who buy tickets sit on the edge of their seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Not on the
Yeah,
whole seat.
You don't need the whole thing. Just stand.
Never.
There you go. Okay, I'm going to turn Gary loose on you. I apologize ahead of his asking his questions, because he's tough. He's tough, man. He gets his elbows up all the time when he asks questions.
Well, just to start off with, just for you, I thought I would make sure I got a Victoria Shamrocks jersey here for you.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, it's a 2017 Steve Priola one, so a little more hitting home too with the Bandits.
Yeah, is there any blood on that thing?
Oh yeah, actually, there's a whole bunch of scuffs marks all over it. Priola always played with his heart.
Oh yeah.
I also had a Bandits jersey. My daughter will kill me if I don't give it back to her, of course, because she was a big Bill O'Brien fan.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice.
So yeah, so a little bit of history in there.
Yeah.
I want to start with talking about your secondary school with Claremont. because that's more or less where it started to get serious, because out of there you got drafted into Division One Robert Morris. So let's talk about the high school and the program there and what got you to get to the next level.
For sure. Claremont is it's a grade 9 to 12 school. It's like 30 minutes away from kind of where I grew up and like the school district that I was in. So I had to do a bunch of the papers and a bunch of the work to switch school districts and get over there. But I really wanted to, because kind of everybody knew that they had the best lacrosse program, at least, like on the island for sure, and debatably in BC. And I'd say even top in Canada for sending kids to different schools and doing stuff. And a couple of my buddies who are older had gone there. And, when they did, you kind of hear about it and you start hearing about different things, I guess, in like grade 7 or 8 when, guys are going off to school on these field lacrosse scholarships and getting to do stuff. So I had kind of gotten a bit serious about it. I'd quit hockey and started focusing my attention on field lacrosse in the winters, because I was like, yeah, Division One scholarship, that sounds awesome. That sounds like something I'm more geared to. I want to be a full-time lacrosse guy. I love lacrosse, and Claremont was going to be my ticket to be able to do it. Just take lacrosse seriously. It's a lacrosse program, like, practice and working out and stuff every day for 4 years. And, the intensity really picks up as soon as you get there. Like when I was in 8th grade, like I think like anybody else, like if you're just at a public school, like you just do the normal gym and like not even sweating or anything after, right? Like you can go work out on your own, but it's not really much of a workout. It's like ride the bike for 5 minutes and then let's see how much we can bench press, right? Like that was kind of what it was. So when you get there, it's two of the best coaches I've ever been around in my life, even still today. I have a great relationship with them both, with Darren Reisig and Chris McKay. They run a fantastic program out there. Still to this day, they do. I was lucky enough to be able to even get back there and coach a bit, kind of from, when different COVID stuff was happening and I was at home not really doing anything. So I was happy to get back there and do that. But yeah, it was an amazing switch. It was a big switch. I'm very grateful my parents allowed me to do it with just how far away it was from home and commuting there and back, with them being working and doing everything as well. Obviously got a little easier when I got my license, but for those first 2 years, obviously a lot of parents from the West Shore, a lot of us made the switch. A ton of us will, because, like I said, it was kind of the one you wanted to go to. It's where you wanted to be if you wanted to get a Division One scholarship. And for sure, I got there. I was lucky enough to kind of get everything going. Grade 9 and 10, you get to play in front of some scouts and kind of really figure out what's going on, if you're going to be good at this or not. And every day you get to compete with kids all over the island, and then you go to the States, play against them, and you just kind of get to see how you fare with different stuff like that. So I noticed in probably my 9th grade year that I'd probably have a pretty good chance at getting to do what I could do. And that's what Zig and Chris had told me as well. They were like, like if you can get your grades dialed in and focus on school a lot, then the lacrosse part's probably going to handle itself. And, if you can keep your grades where they need to be, we're going to be able to help you out quite a bit. So, they believed in me from the get-go, and I never questioned them once. So, everything that I got to do, I obviously, credit to them for scheduling it all and kind of getting everything going. But yeah, Claremont was amazing. It's easily kind of early on, I guess you don't really realize it. You're just, going to high school so you can be in that lacrosse program, but easily one of the best decisions I've made in my life so far.
Right.
And the education that you get for your ability is a nice little trade-off,
100%.
right?
Yeah. And I wasn't exactly aware of that until I had to be whipped into shape in my 10th grade year, because I thought I was pretty good at lacrosse and I was not very good at school. So I had to get that figured out pretty quickly. And I was reminded not all that politely by them. And I still remember that talking to, but I'm grateful for it today.
There's a delicate balance that needs to be made in life, and because of your experience, you were introduced to it, and you were sort of given a hands-on experience as to why it's important,
100%.
right? You understood because of what your motivation was, and one dragged you into the other, and that's why sports is a good thing, and you're a testament to it.
100%. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have gotten to do what I can do. And, I say it every day, like, because we do a school program out here. So we're in schools teaching lacrosse. And, we always bring up, like, to older kids, like, we're in middle schools and even elementary schools, like, I was lucky enough to do everything I've done today because of this lacrosse stick. It took a little hard work as well, and a little advice along the way, but just because I picked up this lacrosse stick, multiple doors open for me. You can kind of choose which one you want to go down.
Yeah, we have the Hill Academy over here that also is in the same realm of to help hockey, lacrosse, golf, as well as their studies and get them active. Usually to get them a scholarship down south. So
Yeah.
So it works out well.
Yeah, I've had some buddies who went to the Hill. I know that Brody and Pat kind of run a tough program, and I mean they've been so talented right throughout those years. And like we weren't quite in the prep school realm, like we weren't playing like IMG or the Hill. I don't know if we ever got to scrimmage the Hill. Like we would run. I can't elevate. I guess we would scrimmage against them when we could, like the one that Jeff Snyder runs out of Calgary, just because that was kind of more where we were at. It wasn't like prep school, but yeah, no, the Hill I've heard a bunch about. I know a bunch of guys who went there, like Kluch, Ian McKay went there, and yeah, I've heard a ton about it.
Yeah, considering a lot of them are now coaches for the Hill too, right?
Yeah, it's wild. Like, everybody just returns, and yeah, and then I guess obviously at RMU, I knew a bunch of Hill guys there too. So yeah,
right. So we get into the Victoria Shamrocks Junior while you're doing this, and it's paid off in spades because from 2016 to 2018, 87 goals, pretty good numbers, I'd say for junior.
Yeah, I think I mean like my rookie year. So when I was in junior, or when I got into junior, we were still doing in BC the 2 years of intermediate. So we still had the 2 intermediate instead of doing the 5 years of junior, which is weird. I think it's strange. I honestly, after talking to all my buddies in Ontario, I think we probably should have just done 5 years of junior. I mean, it basically would have been like playing the exact same kind of thing of like junior B or whatever it would have been. But yeah, I think, I had some fairly successful years, my first 2 years of intermediate scoring and just playing strictly out of that O gate and getting comfortable with it. And then obviously kind of building my skills with school and getting the confidence of getting recruited. And then in junior, I kind of came up my rookie year. They were my third year. It was pretty good. I think that was when I really proved to myself that I could kind of hang and I could play, and maybe, the NLL would probably be something I'd be setting my next hopes for. Like it was always something in the back of my mind. Like I always wanted to be there. It was always a dream kind of thing. But I think that's when I kind of realized I was like, maybe if I keep going at this can be a possibility. Cause I had a pretty good season. I was clicking pretty well. Our team didn't do overly well that year, but I had a pretty solid season. And then I went to RMU that next year, and I obviously, or kind of in between that first and second year, and I came back, and obviously I think what happened to me is what happens to a lot of kids who go away to D1. Like I came back bigger, faster, stronger, and it was noticeable from year to year. Obviously, I think I'd probably put on about 20 pounds of muscle. I'd gotten a little bit taller. My game had matured a little bit, and I came back, and I think I was a little bit better. I was scoring a lot that year. I remember that. And that was kind of the year where I was like, yeah, this is going to be it. I think, this will definitely be something I want to keep going. I want to play senior. I want to play NLL. I want to go for it. I knew it. And I remember that year, I wanted to get called up to senior. I wanted to play senior Shamrocks so bad. And they were so good. Like they had so many lefty O guys, but I was able to do it. I played a couple senior games, and I remember that was kind of like the goal of that year. And then the third year I came back, and I don't remember having that many points. We were okay. I think I was hurt for a little bit of the season, but yeah, I remember that. And then I kind of came back, and then I played senior that year, and then I did pretty well in senior. And I was like, okay, now this is good. Like this is kind of trending in the right direction here. So, and I was really happy to get to play senior because playing senior in Victoria is a blast. Like it's so much fun. They pack the Q Center, which is interesting because the junior games get nobody, but we pack the Q Center every Friday night. Like 3,000 people. And if you live on the island and you're in the lower island there, it's the place to be. It's fun. Like you'll see everybody, and we'll go out there and play, and you play in front of all your friends and family and a bunch of people, and kids idolize you and everything. And it's fun because I remember being that kid in the stands with that player's jersey on and doing everything. So yeah, I mean, I love playing in Victoria, whether it was junior or senior, but kind of like those years were pretty influential on me for being able to build my confidence kind of into the game that I have now.
Sure.
How is the culture of discipline at RMU?
It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong at RMU for sure. I think Coach McMahon and I had a few different assistant coaches throughout the year there, but Coach McMahon is very culture based. I think he always says something, something always resonates with me is that you think you'd get down to like a D1 school and they'd care about only the lacrosse, right? Like it's win or lose, and that's what we care about. And I remember the first kind of meetings, he was like, I don't care about what you are as a lacrosse player. I care that in 4 years, if you can get through this, like I'm never going to, he's like, if you start to not like lacrosse, but want to be in the program and still like do it, like, just show up and work. You're cool with being a guy who's not going to play, show up and work. That was kind of his motto, just shut up and work harder. Because, he was kind of that guy. He always said, he was like, I don't care about what you are as a lacrosse player after these 4 years. I care that you're a better husband, better teammate, better father, better man. So that was kind of it. Like, and then obviously you just get punched in the face with the schedule of everything. Like we had meetings and it's like, if you don't show up dressed the same with your playbook, and your playbook better have a pen. And if you're not 5 minutes early, like I remember the first time we ever had a meeting, guys were rolling in like 3 minutes before, and he's like, you're 2 minutes late. So that was kind of the thing, right? Like if you weren't 5 minutes early, you were late, and that was going to cost you. So you kind of learn that pretty quick. And then all the lifts, you're geared up. Like nobody's like, it was even my first 2 years. It might have loosened up a little bit the next two, but my first 2 years, like 5 a.m. lift, like if we rolled up to lift and 39 guys had a t-shirt on and one guy had a long sleeve on, we're on the line. Like we're running. Like it was unison, everything. Nobody's above the team. Nobody's above anything. And that was just the message that got brought. And I think the first, like you learn it the first year and you're like, what is going on? And then it weeds guys out for sure. Like you see guys drop like flies.
Right, sure.
We probably, I mean, like I know all D1 probably has a lot of turnover where guys get up there and they're like, oh my God, this is hard. I don't want to be here anymore. But ours was especially because you weren't getting nobody was getting a handout because you were a freshman. Like if you showed up, it was even worse if it was a freshman, because then the upperclassmen got ruined harder because they'd be like, you should have let them know. Like you should have let this happen. So yeah, discipline was a big thing.
Right. No surprise here. I just wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has a reputation is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely. He runs a program, man. He's one of my favorite coaches ever, though. Like I'm sure I did think he was unfair at points. I'm sure I may have had some words to say about an email or whatnot that he may have written with daily schedules. But, looking back on it, you don't remember any of that stuff. Like I just remember him being an amazing coach, an amazing man, someone you could always rely on. You could always go to him with anything. He was always unbelievably prepared for any opponent we ever had. Our game plans were dialed in. And all he expected out of you was the exact same. He just wanted you to work hard, be there, be prepared. And if you weren't, he was going to let you know. And I liked it. I loved it. There was no ego with Coach McMahon, and he didn't allow any ego on his team or in his locker room. So I love that about him.
It's paid off. Look at the player you've become. So obviously it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked for a few of us. I always thought to myself in that program, like as far as lacrosse will go, I think if I can get through this, if I can get through these 4 years and, get through it doing what I can, then I think I'll be better for it. And I would definitely say for sure that I am.
Right. Now you get up to the Shamrocks, the senior team, and you stay there. Now, again, you talked briefly about, you're in the Q Center and it's full, and, from sitting in the stands, now you're one of the players. What is the transition like to look up there and go, wow, this is me?
It's really cool. It was really awesome. I remember the first kind of time, because that was still like that summer ball team was like packed full of guys who I and just like adored watching play. Like I was a big Corey Small fan, but even like before that, it was like
Mhm.
Lewis Ratcliffe, Teddy Jenner, like Sean Pollock, Dan Dawson, like Ryder Bateman. Like there were so many guys. Like Darren Reisig and Chris McKay, both my high school coaches, were longtime Shamrocks as well, both captains. Um, and then you got to see so much talent go through there, right? Like there's been like Mitch Jones has been on the team, Joe Rezateritz, Rob Hellier, like Jesse King, Chris Wardle. Like there's just so many guys. Like it's just such an awesome thing to be a part of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Priolo, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like you think about these teams. I was basically watching NLL like all-star teams, like basically with these summer leagues, and like I never realized it before, but how fortunate I was just to like be able to watch that brand of lacrosse and how bad I wanted to be like those guys. Like,
Right.
we got to watch like Smallsy and Dutchy just light it up on a Friday night, and then we got a home game Saturday morning, and you're just trying to mimic something like that. But you're trying to, you're getting the seats going. They're getting actual people going. But, like, yeah, it was insane. When I finally got to get up there, I was just really excited because the Shamrocks has always been like a pretty special thing with me and my family. Like it was always, me, my dad, my little brother would go, and then my sister would join as well, kind of like when she wanted to. And, my mom never really went that much. It was a thing to do with dad. So that was kind of like why it was special. And obviously, my grandparents got a little bit involved with it, like watching even before I was playing. So then when I finally got to go up and play, I was like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty cool to be out there playing. And I knew my dad was fired up about it. And like, cause he knew how cool I thought all those guys were, man. Like he was there the whole time driving me around, making sure that we'd wait an hour and a half so I could go and soda sign my jersey. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, and getting to play there is amazing. It's one of my favorite things to do. It never gets old for me.
Sure. And some of the guys you played with, you're talking about Dobie, you're talking about Connor Robinson, Billings. How did these guys help you improve your game to the level that it's at now?
Yeah, being in Langley was fun. It was kind of weird. It was a bit haywire, I guess, for our season wise. But yeah, I mean, like I'd always played against Connor. I never got to play with him at all growing up because he was a year older than me. So we would have never met each other for a national team at all, or a provincial team. My bad, like Team BC.
Right.
So I only played against him. I'd never had any problem or anything with him. It always upset me how talented he was and how many goals he would get on us. But other than that, I never got to play with him. So I thought getting to play with him was really fun. I thought that was awesome. And then, yeah, getting to play with Billings. I'd loved watching Billings growing up. Like his vision was just insane, the things he was able to do. And it showed like everything, some of the passes he threw me. I remember our first game together in Langley, he was setting up the power play. He's a righty. I was playing shooter. I think Dobie was out that night, but I was playing shooter, and he threw me like he face dodged into an around the world. And it I didn't even know it was coming. It hit me in the cage, and I was like, "Is this guy serious?" I was like, never seen that before. So, and he was awesome too. Like, same with Billings, or not Billings. I'm sorry. Same with Dobes. Like, all these guys were so good to play with because you could ask him anything, and they give you 10 times more than what you asked for. But it's everything you want to hear. Like guys who are just like such smart lacrosse players. Like Dobie's a genius. Dobie will outthink you before he even has to outwork you. And that's, I think, the genius of his game. Like sometimes like he'd be like, "Oh, come set this pick," but like hold it for 3 seconds. Like literally hold it, count to 3, and then roll inside. I'm like, okay. Go up there, hold a pick 3 seconds, roll in, dead open. I'm like, how? Like, like how do you know these things? Like it's just weird little calculated things, and just like nothing but belief and all the guys around him too. So that was fun. Langley was a blast, and like their GM too, Rob Buchan. I'm pretty sure he was pretty influential in getting me to Buffalo as well. So, and Bucky's a beauty. He treated me like gold there. So I loved it. Langley was fun.
Right. So we're going to the NLL now, and you declare for the draft, and Buffalo picks you 9th overall. What was their expectation of you? Because obviously Chugger and Cordingley at the time saw something really special.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we never really had to have that conversation. They didn't put any extra pressure at all on me. I think the only thing they expected me to come to camp in shape and play my game.
Right.
And I think I've never been asked to do anything outside of what I've done my entire career. I can shoot when I'm open. I can pass to open guys. I like to set picks and get guys open. I got some pretty good guys to get open. So, I like opening up room for Burnsy and Kluch. Kluch is an inside guy too, but those guys will get me just as open as I'll get them too. So, yeah, I mean, I think I lucked out. Like I said, there was no real pressure on it. I think expectations for myself probably far exceeded what maybe they expected out of me in that first year.
Right.
Just because I was given a bit of time just to get up to the speed of the game. I'd been out with I didn't go back for that 5th year of school. So before I got to camp my rookie year, I hadn't played lacrosse in 17 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I was way behind the 8 ball on game speed, timing. Felt like a guy coming back from injury. And I'm coming into this offense of guys who are playing in that PLL bubble and everything, and had been playing all year, and obviously have some chemistry. They've played together for quite some time. And I remember my first kind of shift when I was out there, I got out there and I got out there and I realized I'm living with Dane, Josh, Kluch, and Fraze and Ian and all those guys. And I'm like, all right, well, that's awesome. Cause obviously they're, some of the best in the world and fantastic guys. So that was exciting out the gate, but then, getting to play with them, for the first time, I remember it's Josh and Dane kind of had the ball and I'm inside and I go to set a pick and out of nowhere, 3 guys have touched it and it's in the net. And I'm like, what is happening here? I was 8 seconds in and then, I go to set a pick for Josh and I'm kind of waiting on it. I go in and jukes 2 guys and he's flying through the air and scoring. And I'm out by the dotted line. I'm like, what is happening? It was pretty apparent. I was kind of thinking to myself, I was like, whatever, we've done somewhat well in senior ball. So a lot of the same guys, it can't be that much different. It won't be too crazy. I was wrong, horribly wrong. When I came into that camp, I was immediately just eye-opened by everyone's not only the skill and the athleticism, but just the knowledge, just the IQ and being able to, just think about stuff before it happens and see things and the vision and different plays. And then you get to talk to all these guys who have been, really good in this league for years because of it. And getting to play with a passer like Dane, he's like, get open for a second, I'll hit you. You're like, okay. It's pretty easy, but I struggled that first year to kind of get into it and figure everything out. And you kind of forget too, all the defensive guys are all good. I guess those WLA teams, right? Everybody's got 4 good D guys, but the rest of them aren't NLL guys. Right. And you're like, oh, the nets are bigger, but the goalies are better. So you're like, everything that I thought it would be, I was right, but I was pretty determined to get up to speed quickly and
sure
me a little bit longer, but I think I'm somewhat figuring it out.
So
how important was? Go ahead.
I was good.
Okay, how important was? Oh.
Go ahead.
I think we're fighting for over the same balls. I apologize. Okay, what I wanted to ask you was something to do with that. The first year that you're in, you're not a passenger. I don't think that's a good terminology to use. You're not a passenger. You're a witness looking for an opportunity to participate. How anxious were you to get up to speed?
Really anxious. I remember after the first weekend of camp, I probably annoyed everybody with asking them so many questions. You know what I mean? I was like, what can I do here? What can I do there? Because as soon as we came to camp, the tone got set. It was hey, we lost a championship the last year that we were together. We lost a championship. So let's focus in on that. You know what I mean? And then you have all these guys who were on that team who are pissed and who are ready to go and who from day one of camp are focused on winning a championship. So I was pumped because you get you get brought right into a winning culture, which is fine. But when you're a rookie, get up to speed quickly. And that's kind of,
you want to be a part of it. You want to be a part of it.
I'd already considered these guys my friends, and that's the kind of player I am too. I was like, okay, well, I'm here. Might as well help out. Let's see what I can do to, let's see if maybe I could be something we were missing. Who knows, right? Anything like that. And, a lot of us rookies, we came in and bought in. We're like, okay, screw it. We're in. Practices are hard. Good. We go hard in these. Good. Whatever it is. So I wanted to get up to speed really quickly and I rushed it a bit, and then obviously rushing it, I was just getting frustrated, which is funny because nobody else was rushing me. It was just me in my own head.
Right.
But yeah, exactly, precisely what you said. Like you just like we're all competitive, right? I wanted to get in, and I was like, I wanted to, I wanted to play. I wanted to be there, and I remember the boys took me to a Sabres game, like my second night here in Buffalo, and I saw the crowd and I heard the music and I was like, "We play here?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like I remember it was Dane, and they were telling me about what a Bandits game was like because I'd never been to one. Right? Like I was from BC. I'd never been to one. I'd only seen them on TV, and they're telling me about all this stuff, and I'm like, "I'm in. This is awesome." Like I was like, "This couldn't have worked out better." So yeah, exactly like you said, I was anxious to see where I could help.
So that's actually where I wanted to go with it. You come there, and now you the storied franchise, oldest one in the league, and we used to go when I was a kid. We used to drive over there and watch in Memorial Odd some of the mill games, the Bandit stuff, watch the Kilgores and watch Veltman and all the other guys, and it was nuts.
Lucky you. I wish there was more footage of that.
Oh, I actually have some. I've got to get it put onto this so I can get it up there.
Let me know when. Yeah, I'll be watching it.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, and just the whole ambiance of the Odd and when Boston was in town, it was insane. And now you go into Bandit Land, and your first game, and you're looking around at probably 17,000 people. What was that like?
That was like, I guess when you accumulate everything that I've told you about from step by step, kind of where I came. And like obviously you get to look around Victoria, you're like, that's awesome. And like when I scored like my first college goal, you're like, there you go, kind of goal achieved, milestone achieved. When I first got out in Bandit Land and I'm looking around, I'm like, this is it. Like I was like, this is exactly what we've been waiting on. And I think I'm not trying to badmouth any of the other teams or any of the buildings or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my first experience was probably top tier and a lot better than some other first experiences for sure. Like getting to walk out in Bandit Land and the fans and everything, and like nobody even knows you, right? Like no one knows who I am, but they knew I was a high draft pick, so they're immediately loving it. Like you get announced and they're cheering like you've already scored 500 goals for the franchise. Like it's crazy, and it was. Yeah, I mean it was breathtaking. It's actually difficult to put into words. Like it was just, I was just so happy and I was so grateful, and I just, as soon as like you get out here and you start playing for it, you just fall in love with it. It becomes addicting. Like even now, like to fuel workouts, like when you're working out, like you're thinking of those fans and like, I need to be in shape. I need to be able to do this. So because they're there, because they do what they do, you know what I mean? Because I need to do it for them. So
sure. Bandits fans travel very nicely too, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Rochester is basically a home game.
So some of the Toronto games that I've seen over the years too.
Oh yeah. But
yeah. Well, if the Shamrocks were the ice cream, I guess you could say the Bandits have become the cherry.
Without a doubt. Yes, absolutely. I consider myself extremely lucky for teams I've gotten to play on and guys I've gotten to play with. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I'm very lucky.
No, because how excited you were when it came to being a Shamrock and not even knowing, this is what I'm hearing. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, but not even knowing how exciting it could be even beyond the Shamrocks. The Shamrocks was a satisfying experience for you. This one was a bit of a surprise, I think it sounds like.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's just because, obviously, yeah, you nailed it. With the Shamrocks, I knew what to expect. I just wanted to experience it myself in the way that I was hoping. With Buffalo, I was like, this is nuts. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is on a whole nother level because, like I said, I was never able to grow up and go to Bandits games or do that. When I was younger and kind of getting the opportunity to go to different games, we had to go to Everett. And it was so long and annoying to get there because we had to go to the Washington Stealth games. And they were good. I remember we got to meet the 2010 team because of my buddy's dad kind of knew some guys on the team. But, we got to go there. But it was like, it was a full weekend, man. Like, it was like ferries and stuff on Friday to get over there, driving 4 hours and then getting to watch them play and do some different stuff. Funny story, actually, in 2010, the Boston Blazers were playing in Everett. And we got to go out there. And Dan Dawson was the one who got us in because we used to go to his camps when I was younger.
Right. Okay.
So, and that was when Dan was the captain of the Blazers. Was it 13 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So he's the
Mhm.
captain of the Blazers, and like we're getting to watch like Dutchy and like Lewis Ratcliffe and stuff like that with Everett. But kind of funny, not to age Dan because Dan's one of my favorite players of all time, and I'm probably only one of the million that he's somehow been unbelievably kind to as when I was a kid. But
He's the
yeah,
nicest guy in the world.
he's
Absolutely.
the nicest man on the planet, exactly.
Mhm.
And I always remember, yeah, Dan told me one time. I remember I was helping out with a camp. I wasn't really helping out. My younger brother was in the younger age of his camp,
Mhm.
and I was lucky enough to Dan just let me go out there and help with some drills. And Dan somehow introduced me with the rest of the NLL guys that were on his coaching staff. And he was like, I remember he said, I hope I'm still playing in the league when Brad gets to the league. And I was like 12. And I remember that meant the world to me. So then when I got to play against him last year, I was like, nailed it. I was like, he doesn't remember saying it, but I remember it. So I was pumped about it.
Right. But there's some other real cool perks also being in Banditland. Of course, you got Swenny, who has nicknames for everybody, and I'm thinking the way you're scrapping lately, Iron would be a good one for you.
Yeah, I
Brad
don't know.
McCulley.
I'm waiting on it. I think you got to get more goals than what I have to get a nickname. I don't know if it's just fighting, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, he's a beauty. He's awesome. Like, what an electric announcer for
Mhm.
an electric building. Like, that guy is the best.
Yeah, and it's been
How about
for the
Clash?
whole time the band has been there. He's been that staple, that
Yeah,
ties all the things together.
it's
Now,
amazing.
your goal song. How did you come up with that? Because another really good song.
Thank you. I don't know. I think you should like that is a stressful process. You should hear the boys like when we're trying to figure that out. And it's actually helpful earlier in the season going to Sabres games because guys will score and you're like, hey, what sounds good in this building with a bunch of people in it? Like, what is going to be a good one? Because the Sabres get goal songs too. So I was like, I mean, like, this is a great song. Everybody gets up for this song. Like,
Hmm.
why wouldn't we? I was like, it's kind of funny. Like, So I was like, let's give it a shot. Like, let's give it a try. And it ends up, I think it's good. It hasn't been played enough this year, but I'm working on it.
It gets played more and more. Never mind, you're having a pretty good year.
Yeah.
And Bandits fans really take you because of the workhorse you are. You'll drop them if you got to. You'll set picks if you got to. You're able to score. So you're doing everything you can. So obviously, when they see the type of player, no wonder the Bandits fans, gravitate to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's kind of always been, a bit of my style. I like getting in there and being physical, and I like getting my teammates open. And yeah, I've had a hardworking game. I grew up with some coaches that enjoyed hardworking players, and kind of molded that style quite a bit. I just get in there and play hard. Like everyone likes to see it. Everyone enjoys it. I personally have more fun doing that.
Hmm.
I couldn't, do anything else. It's just the way I play. Like,
Right.
um, it's whether or not it means I don't know, I'm gonna play less long because I play hard. Like my body wears on it. I don't know, man. I don't know any other way to do it. So and yeah, like you said, I guess the fighting's a little bit new, but I guess it kind of comes with the territory. I did it a bit in junior. It's not really something that ever concerns me. I mean,
Right.
it just happens, right? Like it's nothing you can do about it. And I like protecting my teammates. If my teammates feel
Sure.
safer out there, if I'm doing that, then they're not. Like, I mean, let's be honest, Josh Byrne doesn't need to be fighting anyone. So,
Hmm.
somebody's got to do it. And like I said, I love being in Banditland. And if that's a part of my game that keeps me in that lineup is that hard nosed, gritty style and do what you got to do, then I'll do it. Like,
Well,
no question.
I'm sure that the
Yeah.
energy from the fans also helps with the adrenaline once you start going. I was going to ask you about the mindset when the bucket's coming off, the gloves are down, and now it's go time.
Yeah.
What is the mindset?
Uh, more offense than defense, I suppose. But I mean, yeah, like honestly, I got in one last year, but it was in Toronto and it was during COVID. There was no fans in the stands.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, whatever. And then this year I got in one,
You
and
had
I always knew
Keo a couple of weeks ago. No
I had
small,
Keo.
competitor.
Yeah, that was a fun one. He was yeah, that was good. It was I didn't really know it was Keo when it was happening, and then he kind of came at me, and I was like, "Oh, this should be a good one." Like I was like, "This will be fun." The other one I had in Toronto last year, that was also a good one, but not exactly on my end. But it was a little welcome to the league moment, I guess.
Right.
Um, but yeah, this year I think yeah, that first one I got in, man, it's the coolest feeling in the world. It's crazy. It's like the bucket comes off, and then I remember I was like, "Okay, we're gonna do this." Like walked up to him, we're gonna do this, and thankfully we went for the square up, which I think is the best way to do it personally.
Mhm.
But so we went for the square up, and I remember I just like I dropped one glove, and people knew it was going on. And I remember I looked around, and just this sea of orange and black stands up, and people are hammering on the glass, and there's not a person sitting in their seat anymore. Like
Mhm.
it's like it was like long overdue for these people or something like that. And I remember thinking, I was like, I was like, better not lose this one. Like,
Right.
'cause, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh wow. But yeah, like it was scoring is a really cool feeling, but
Mhm.
that is top notch. That's one of the coolest things of all time. Like you talk about like adrenaline, like chills down your spine, like
Yeah.
that was it right there. Like I was like, he could probably hit me 15 times. I bet I won't feel a single thing.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, it's probably gonna be good. But that's yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Not to put down organizations or franchises that are new, but it must help also as being a young player to play for a fan base that really knows the game, so that the little incremental improvements that you make help you a little more because you're appreciated at a much more minute,
For
level.
sure. I think you know what we're really lucky in Bandit Land because and in Buffalo, because one, people care. You know what I mean? People
Mhm.
care and they're knowledgeable about it. We've had fans that have been in the building since '92, right? Like
Mhm.
we've had people who watch the game, who love the game, who will watch other games that we are not even playing in just because they like the sport. And then yeah, exactly what you said. Like people appreciate you. You get to hear different things. Like I said, like we're pretty lucky to be around our fan base and not be like the Bills or the Sabres because we're a little bit more accessible than they are. We're not like
Right.
full blown celebrities. They're not trying to keep us away from everybody. Like there's
Mhm.
not any of that. Like we'll go we'll go to a bar after the game and there's a bunch of fans there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And you can sit down and talk to these fans and they'll tell you things exactly like that. Like they'll be like, "Oh wow, like I'm so glad we have you. We've been missing that aspect." Or, "You set so many good picks tonight. You're going to get open next game. Don't worry about it," kind of thing. And you can have like these
Mhm.
almost like intelligent conversations. Like some people you talk to them, you're like, "Did I just talk to my coach?" Like you're like, "What just happened?" And they're like, so it's pretty fun. It's exactly what you said. Like we're really lucky to have people who are knowledgeable about the game and who really care about the team. It's funny. It's like everybody's like a fantasy NLL GM or something like that.
Mhm.
Coming in like, who's hurt? Is he okay? What's going on here? Like this. And you're like, I can't tell you, but you'll figure it out if you just go look over there. But
But you also showed that you're 100% committed because you moved from Victoria to Buffalo just so you can make the practices and be with the team and part of that culture because pretty much the team all lives there, doesn't it?
I mean, everybody lives in Toronto. I just don't like flying, but
Right. Okay.
no, no, I'm kidding. But like, it's yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's kind of something that's been uh obviously I think they told me when they drafted me, like they were like, Buffalo's pretty awesome. Like they're like, you're gonna enjoy yourself here. And I was like, okay, like that's awesome. So, last year I came out and I lived with all the boys and it was a blast. And then everyone's lives kind of changed a little bit and we all moved in with our girlfriends. So thankfully I've been dating the same girl since I met at RMU. So we were kind of obviously she's from Maryland. So we met in Pittsburgh. So it kind of worked out now that I'm living in Buffalo also. So we grabbed a
Sure.
place together. So that worked out nicely. But I would have lived in Buffalo too. I love it here. I love being here, and I think it's amazing that we get to practice every week. Like I think there's 9 of us that live in Buffalo, but then everybody else is in Ontario.
Mhm.
So
It's an
like we
easy town. Yeah.
yeah, it's easy, right? Like we practice at the track every week, like whatever night of the week it may be open, we figure that out. But usually Wednesdays. But we get a good practice in and we get to be around each other a lot. And living in Buffalo, like living with the guys too, like obviously it builds chemistry, right? Because I think that we're pretty lucky that we get to hang out with each other all the time. Like, it's you want to go grab dinner tonight, you want to go watch a movie, let's go do this. And last year when we were all living in the same house, like it was so much fun. It was such a blast, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like you're just harassing each other, hanging out. We're doing everything together. Like it was good. Like it was such an amazing intro to Buffalo. And then the first week, like all the guys do such a good job. Like making sure you kind of get up to date. Like, these are the people we need to know. Like, this is the places we go. This is what we do. This is how we do things around here. And you're like, awesome, I'm in. You know what I mean? It's sweet. It's really good.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this weekend because battle for first place. Toronto's in Bandit land.
Yeah,
it's a winner take all for the East Division.
It's a
How
large.
big is this? This is everything, right?
The biggest game of the year by far, without a doubt. It's been quadruple circled on the calendar now for, I guess, as long as they last beat us, whenever that was. Doing that, and then I don't exactly remember what we did after that game. I think for good reason. I got hit a couple times, so I shouldn't have to remember. But yeah, it's huge. It's massive, and I'm so happy that it's in Bandit land, because last time, like, we were in Toronto, and they just like, there's nothing worse. Like, you're in a team's building, and it's obviously a game of that magnitude, and like, we just got punched in the mouth so early, and you're gonna get me fired up talking about it. But like, you know, I can't wait to see him Saturday evening. I can't wait. It's the biggest game of the year by far. And I don't really like to talk about games that way. Like, that was something RMU did. We never said anything's a big game or anything's a big opponent. So it feels wrong for me to like say it. Like, that was kind of the thing. We treated everything the same at RMU. Tried to not get anything of big caliber, but this one's massive and it's big, and we hate
the rivalry goes back many years too. So there's a hatred, a healthy hatred between the two teams, the fans, the fan bases. Everything is there. You know, all the energy is in the stands as well as on the floor.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. And I didn't even really know about it, to be honest with you. I remember when we were bussing home one time from some away game at RMU, and Ryan Smith, he's my best friend from university. And he was like, we got to watch this Buffalo-Toronto game. I was like, any particular reason? He's like, it's going to be a gong show. I was like, oh, okay. Like, sounds good. And then now I'm in this rivalry, and I know, I'm just like, oh, you see all these guys who have played for the Bandits, and then all these guys who have played for the Rock, and these battles. Like, it's so much fun to be a part of. I love it. I'm very privileged to be a part of it. But yeah, I hate them. I can't wait to.
Get in I'll be looking forward to. I'll be in a press box myself, so I'll be looking forward to it myself.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, believe me, I can't wait to, Saturday early. I'll be out there just taking in the festivities, because all the stuff pregame and all the people, and it's well worth to try to come 6 hours early
Well, make sure I come say hi to you.
For sure, I'll make sure I come down by the dressing rooms for
awesome. Pregame. I love it.
Just remember, there'll be a guy with a Rock jersey on. You don't want to take your bucket off for.
Rip the jersey off.
I got one of these for you too.
Oh, nice, perfect. That's awesome.
I really want to thank you for taking the time, Brad, especially this late at night, and especially this close to the games and things like that, because we got about a minute left, and just all the energy and all the enthusiasm that you bring, even just to the interview, it's eye opening just to have that kind of energy. So I really appreciate you taking your time with us.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Like, thank you again for moving it to later at night, obviously, with us having to do some stuff there. So I appreciate you guys, but. Yeah, man, I love what I do. I'm living my dream. I'm just one of those kids living his dream, and I'm trying to take it all in. You know what I mean? You can get frustrated, and sometimes my girlfriend says, she's like, I'll be pissed off about something, and she's like, just think of what 12-year-old you would be thinking right now if he saw you doing this. And I'm like, that puts things into perspective pretty fast. And I love coming on podcasts and talking to you guys too, because I love talking lacrosse. I'm a lacrosse junkie. Like, I will watch all the games from the weekend, like me and my dad always do. I've always just I'm a fan of the sport as much as I play it. And in the league, I'm a fan of the league. I like watching all the games. I like doing that. So I love the enthusiasm you guys bring with just being fans and everything like this, and holding such a cool show like this. So I'm stoked to be on. Thank you so much for having me. But yeah, that was awesome.
Brad, it's our pleasure, and we look forward to meeting a lot of other players in the National Lacrosse League. We always enjoy learning about what motivates you guys and learning a little bit more about your history, because we think you guys in that league deserve a lot more attention than you get. So, and thanks for taking the time to be with us and help us learn about you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much for having me on, and thank you for everything that you guys do, because you guys are going to be influential in getting us that exposure that I think we all know that this league deserves. So thank you very much for everything you guys do as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So for Gary Groob, and Brad McCulley of the Buffalo Bandits. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching NLL Lacrosse Talk, seen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. 9 p.m. tonight. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Network. And, of course, for Lacrosse Talk and other sports and news and entertainment programming you can watch it on SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. And don't forget, you can watch our YouTube channel at Candid Frank Stanisci 1030. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next Thursday.